final and last stage of our getting the boat prepared for winter stage. Stage 1 was some insulation on the boat, which actually took a lot longer than I thought. Pretty much the whole time when Adam was away, I was insulating behind the walls, and when Adam came back, the ceiling. Next stage was the dehumidifier, which was pretty much just a matter of buying a dehumidifier, and has worked wonders. Of all the things that I've done so far out of those two, I think the dehumidifier was definitely the best call so far. Lastly though, is actually getting some heat in here. So right now we are using a plug-in heater, and when we're at anchor we've got a little cheap Chinese diesel heater that uses a fair amount of power and a fair amount of diesel. So when we're back out at anchor, we want something that's a little more efficient from both of those fronts. So we've decided to go with a Dickinson's Newport or Alaska diesel heater. So this little thing should put out more than enough heat for our boat and be more energy efficient and fuel efficient than the other electric diesel heater that we have, which would be pretty cool. However, we do need to do a fair bit of rejigging around in order to actually fit this thing in. So this is where we are going to go into project mode and deconstructive mode.
As you can see, we've got 2 bucket seats and a nice fold-down table, which is lovely if it's just the 2 of you and you've got all the space you need in the world and you don't live on the boat full-time. I'm not really sure what the intention was when they put it in. I mean, obviously the intention was dining, and chart table shares that chair, which works kind of in practice, but you're giving up so much space under the table, and it's just a kind of an obnoxious use of space. Like it's excessive. And doesn't achieve enough for the amount of space that it takes up. So the plan we have is that we're going to do away with the chairs, do away with the fold down table. This is going, like basically what I've done is I have taped out the plan. So we're going to knock out this wall, this table, and push it all back to here, which will buy us the real estate we need to put in a sort of a settee. At the head of the settee, we're going to build a table that will be essentially at this height, which is the height that the heater will sit. So this is the profile of where the heater will go, which brings us conveniently to the flue, which will go nicely up through this Dorade vent, so we don't have to drill a second hole in the roof. That way it'll be sort of low enough to be projecting heat out everywhere, high enough that we have a short run of the flue, and conveniently gives us storage now under this massive settee. So we're essentially building like a 2-meter box that is 40 centimeters high. It's essentially another one of these on this side, and if we build it the way we're planning to build it, you'll also be able to sleep on it potentially whilst underway, which gives us another transient berth. So that is the plan. You can see that I've masking taped it all out loosely where the lines are going to go. As I said a second ago, the heater is going to sit, so this profile here is going to be sort of a bedside table, like just a little corner table, if you will. And the reason for that is that you have to have decent clearance around the heater, so we can't put it at deck level because it'll be just butting up against the new couch or the new settee, and it'll be too close. Like the door, it's just generally like a logistical, it'll be ugly and it'll be awkward. So what we're going to do is step it up to sort of sitting height, which puts it about, I'm gonna grab that, about here. So it'll sit nicely, if you can imagine it, on a little table of sorts, which sort of ends at this line. And then downstream, rearwards of there, will be a nice settee that will be recessed into this wall as far as this wall, not this one. So it'll be 60 centimeters wide with a nice backrest, 40 centimeters high, which is the same sitting height as this side. And will provide us lots of storage, and it'll be the warmest, well and truly the warmest seat in the house. But for the first section of the job, essentially we just have to rip all of this out, which is a little bit daunting, but it's one of those things. Once you start, you get the engine spooled up, the fear of destroying things gets sort of swallowed by the excitement of what you're going to build.
Now that we're finally like, okay, let's go, we're just standing here staring at it because none of us actually want to take the plunge. We're too scared. We're both too nervous to be the first person to get the hammer on this.
We'll start with just easy stuff, like just like unscrew this, and then we'll pull out this pull off the doors and empty out all the junk. Baby steps. Steps.
We're also, because we'll put a grey couch there, same colour as on the other side. This wall here will end up being a bit lighter. This side of the room will end up being a bit lighter. So we've decided to take the white paint off as well and go back to wood, which will varnish, same as what the whole boat looks like.
Oh, God.
What's wrong? Apparently our painting skills were not up to par.
I think 5 years later, we finally get to go back to wood.
Exactly. So half of it is currently in process, and then while we're doing this job, we'll try and finish off the other half. It's a stage of paint stripper, taking that off, several hours worth of work. Let's get a hammer to this. First bit of destruction. Have emptied the cupboard first.
Probably was a good idea. Good thing we didn't store anything dodgy in there, like it's full of beer. Although to be fair, that would be a source of national pride. Alright, destruction mode is over for now. I'm sure it'll come later, but right now we're going on to building mode. So we've taken everything away from the wall here, and you can see it's just kind of like a bit of an empty shell. And then Adam has beautifully put in some planks here of, I think our boat is like, this is spruce, I think it is. Anyway, we've just taken them off of what used to be here, and we filled in some of the gaps. So we'll make that look really pretty afterwards, because that's actually going to be on show. And now is the time to actually start building. All right, Adzi, do you care to explain the progress? So we have, what wood did we end up getting? I can't remember.
I'm going to say tipple. That's probably a fish. I don't know.
What was it? It's hardwood. I can't remember what it is. What did I get?
It's similar to mahogany.
Similar to mahogany, yeah. Don't know. So yes, we've got hardwood 30 by 30 millimeters beams, if you will, for the sort of skeleton. We chose hardwoods obviously because it's a lot stronger and moisture resistant and generally just more appropriate for the job. We essentially bought a big block of hardwood and had the guys here at the marina break it down into, I think we've got 6 lengths of 3 by 3, which is more than enough, but there's excess for some mistakes and any reinforcements that I decide to do on the fly, and if we have left over, we'll just donate it to the resident woodworker here, who's a really nice man, has been giving us some advice. So yeah, that's my plan. Today I'm going to cut these lengths, sort of get a loose footprint of the design going, not loose, an actual exact footprint of the design going, no more loose talk, and then just build it up from there essentially. The challenge I'm having is like, what is level on a sailboat? My thinking is that you want to get the sitting level. The seat of your ass should be flat, regardless of the boat. You should feel flat. You don't want to feel like you're sitting on a canter. The boat's currently in the water. She's got a normal weight disposition, so nothing is drastically going to change. So my thinking is that if I get that level, then it'll feel normal and it'll feel comfortable regardless of anything that changes in the interim. So that's my goal. Hopefully that doesn't mean that one leg is 3 inches longer than the other, because that would mean that the boat is substantially skeweth. But that's going to be an evolving process, I think. So for today's job is just to get the initial makings of a frame put together.
Safety strap. Can't go back now. Alright guys, it's taken us 2 days, but we've created a square.
Carpentry sucks. I have so much respect for carpenters now, honestly.
Especially
Particularly
carpenters on boats.
Yeah. Nothing is straight. There are no right angles. There is no level. There is no up. The laws of gravity don't apply. Nothing is the same in any two spots. It's absurd. You literally have, like, you start out with the best of intentions. You're like, we're going to do nice straight cuts and everything's going to be square. We'll build this, then we'll build that, and it'll all come together perfectly. And then you do the first thing and it's like, well, that didn't end up how it's supposed to. So then you have to start modifying and making concessions, and nothing is straight.
Well, I guess my floor's a bit wonky, isn't it? Which means that one of the measurements is 30 centimetres.
Or the wall is wonky.
The other one's
or the
40
boat's
centimetres.
wonky.
Not that bad, but...
The water level's wonky. Anything, whatever's,
Oh my God,
nothing is straight.
it could
Nothing's
be
the
anything.
same. Anyway, we got this far.
So we've got a square. Square, guys. 2 days later. Yep, that's our progress.
Many tantrums. Many tantrums.
Many
Many
tantrums.
failed experiments and reimaginings of the design.
And now that we've got this, we've got at least something to go off as well. So
For now.
for now, until we decide that, wow, that's wonky, and let's take it all away. Right now, we're just focusing on the table section of the whole sofa. So it needs to be straight, pretty much. It needs to be level. It needs to, and then we're trying to figure out what's level on a boat. And you know, if we put a coffee cup down there, is it going to be level? Is it not? Anyway.
What's annoying because you put a Smith level on the floor, and it's like bow to stern, and it's like totally wrong. You put it Arthwat chips and it's okay. So you're like, all right, well, so does that mean I'm build my table to parallel with the floor, like all the other tables on the boat, or should I dig my heels in and say, no, this will be level as it stands now, in which case your table is now crooked against all the other tables on the boat and the floor, and it looks wrong.
So we're getting there. This is good. And I'll also add, to achieve this one square, we've pretty much broken the whole boat, or dismantled the whole boat. Every drawer seems to be out of everything seems to be out of every drawer, and it's a disaster.
Before anybody gets stuck into me for doing the dodgy stuff like this, I need to remind everyone that we're working with what we have. As usual, I would love to have a fully decked out workshop and full access to all the tools I need, but I don't. So it's this or sit on my hands and do nothing.
Final piece to our box. Get excited,
Finally
get excited.
made something that is like able to be leaned on or have us more than a stiff breeze put on it.
It's a full 3D box now.
It's a box.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks good. It's a start. We've broken its back. And now it's like we just keep chipping away. We can start building on it progressively as we go.
Any more sturdying up that we need to do, we'll use leftover pieces of timber, because we're actually smashing through the timber, more so than what we thought that we would. So we've only got a couple more long planks left. Planks?
Beams, whatever.
Beams, whatever it's called. We're so not carpenters. So we'll make sure we do the most of it first, and then we'll kind of sturdy up as we go afterwards. After our great progress with the first box, aka the table, the next day we started on the next box, which was to be the new couch. We pretty soon realised that we would need to split this further into 2 pieces to firm up the structure a little bit, and so that we could work around the plywood walls that gave support to the cupboards above. We also got more creative with how to get the perfect right angles on the boat. progress of today?
Yeah, made good progress today. We have sort of the bench structure and the shape now. It's good. It's sort of taking shape. Got to put some struts in crossways probably tomorrow, but yeah, we have the actual bench heights and it's all flat.
Can you explain how we're...
What is flat on a boat?
Can you explain how we're making it look flat, or how we're trying to get it as flat as possible?
Like, we're in a pretty normal disposition of load and balance. So my thinking is that as we are now, when the deck goes down and the cushion goes on top and you sit on it, it should be flat. You should be able to put your drink or put a ping pong ball on it and it won't roll around to one way or the other. Bow and stern was a little bit more challenging because it just looked wrong when you went to level, because the floor's slightly off and I think we're a little bit by the bow at the moment. So we've sort of tried to make it, we've gone for sort of symmetry and balance and flat enough that things won't roll around and carry on. So yeah, that one's a bit harder to explain. It was kind of an evolving process, but generally we would put the deck down and adjust it, and like a compromise between the ping pong ball test and what looks right in the space. This is not the ply we're going to use for this particular job, but it gives you a sense of the what'll go on. There. So that's how we're gauging that it's flat.
That's our future bench.
I wonder if I could sit on it.
Can you imagine if it just...
Not quite ready for that yet. No, I've got to put some more stiffening.
Yeah.
Stiffening, like generally stiffen the whole thing up. And the skin, when we put it on, i.e. the ply, will provide a lot of strength. A lot. So it'll go up by a factor of 3 in sort of rigidity once we put the skin on. But I do want the frame. I don't have Santa Chiara before. I don't want to like have people to the boat and be sort of sitting there sipping my drink going, shit, I hope that couch holds up. Like, you know, or if somebody comes over and they go, oh, and flop in the chair and you're like, oh, any day now it's going to go crunch. I want to be able to take a swan dive off the top of the stairs onto this couch and feel confident that it'll hold up.
Overbuild it like the rest of the boat.
Yeah, exactly.